Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about graphing inequalities with two variables. So basically when you have an x and a y. So over on the left-hand side, you can see the steps. On the right-hand side, I give an example, and that's what we'll use. I'll kind of go through the steps explaining how to do it with this particular situation. So first thing we're going to do is to graph the line that we would have if this inequality sign were an equal sign. So we're dealing with the line 2x minus 3y is equal to 12. We can graph this any way we want. You could get it into slope-intercept form. You could just try to find some points on the line. I think what I will do, just because of the way it's set up, is I'm going to graph it by finding the intercept. So if I have my x and my y, and I say, all right, if x is 0, what is y? So I'd find the y-intercept. And if y is 0, what is x? So just work through this. So if x is 0, it means I'm doing 2 times 0 minus 3y equals 12. So that is essentially gone. 2 times 0 is just 0. So really what I'm working with is negative 3y is equal to 12. Divide by negative 3. So y is going to be negative 4. So I know that when x is 0, y is negative 4. Now I'll do a similar thing for if the y is 0. So 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 12. This time, that term pretty much is, it's just 0, so we can ignore it. So 2x is equal to 12. Divide by 2, that leaves us with x is equal to 6. So that gives us the x-intercept. So I'm going to just scroll down here and sketch a quick graph here where I can plot those points. So if I have something like this, and I need to plot the point from the x-intercept, we found 0, negative 4. From the y-intercept, we had 6, comma 0. Or I'm sorry, other way around. With the when the x is 0, so the y-intercept is 0, negative 4. The x-intercept is 6, comma 0. So I'm going to plot those points as negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So here is my point 0, negative 4. And then I'm going to plot 6, comma 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 6, comma 0. And I'm going to draw the line that connects those points. So remember, I'm just treating this as as an equal sign, as if it's just a line. The one little reminder here is if it's a less than or a greater than, which is what we have, a less than in this case. So I'm going to use a dotted line. If it had the or equal to as part of it, then we'd use a solid line. So in this case, I'll use a dotted line when I sketch this in. So I'm going to do something like this to connect those points and show the path that that line would be taking. So that's step one. Step two is saying, test a point that is clearly on one side of the line. So often 0, 0 is easy unless the line goes through 0, 0, 0. So sure enough, this time we can test that point 0, 0. So this is kind of getting into step two here. We're going to test 0, comma 0. And what I mean by test it is we're putting that x and y value. So the x is 0, the y is 0. We're going to put that into the inequality and see if it's true. So coming back up here, our inequality, 2x minus 3y is less than 12. So if I put in the point 0, 0, I'm going to do 2 times 0 minus 3 times 0 is less than 12. So this is just 0 minus 0 is less than 12. And yes, that is true. 0 is less than 12. So coming up here, that means if the test point makes the inequality true, which is what we have in this case, then we're going to shade that side of the line. If it were not true, like if it said 0 is greater than 12, then we would shade the other side. But in this case, we're going to shade this side of the line, and I'm going to use color like this maybe to just shade. Oops. So what this is showing, so this would all be colored in. This is showing that all the points on that side of the line make this inequality true. And that's really it. So our step three is just doing that shading. And that would be the final answer. That would be the way to show the solutions to this inequality. So the dotted line for the case where it's equal. But then we're shading everything. You could think of it as above the line in this case. So that is it for graphing inequalities. Thank you.